The wine glass shattered against pristine white fabric, deep red liquid spreading like blood across Kang Minho's chest. The entire restaurant fell silent. Chopsticks froze midair. Waiters stopped breathing. Even the soft jazz music seemed to dim. Amara Okafor hadn't meant to spill her drink. She'd been walking past his table, distracted by the breathtaking view of Seoul's nighttime skyline through the floor-to-ceiling windows, when her heel caught on the carpet. The glass flew from her hand in what felt like slow motion. The man rose slowly from his seat. He was tall, impossibly handsome, with sharp cheekbones and eyes that could cut glass. His three companions remained seated, hands moving subtly toward their jacket pockets. Around the restaurant, at least a dozen other men in black suits straightened in their chairs. "Do you know who I am?" His voice was soft, dangerous, like silk hiding a blade. Amara's heart hammered against her ribs, but she lifted her chin. She'd faced down Lagos traffic, survived a broken engagement, and testified against a criminal. She wouldn't cower now, even if every instinct screamed that this man was predator and she was prey. "Should I?" She switched to Korean, her 3 years of study making the words crisp and clear. "Maybe if you weren't sitting there like you own the world, I would have seen you." A muscle twitched in his jaw. One of his men stood up, hand definitely on a weapon now. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. The man in the ruined suit stepped closer. He smelled like expensive cologne and danger. "What's your name, beautiful fool?" "Someone you'll never see again." Her hand moved before her brain could stop it. The slap echoed through the silent restaurant like a gunshot. His head snapped to the side. A woman near the bar gasped. His men surged forward. He raised one hand, and they froze instantly. He turned his face back to her slowly, and Amara's stomach dropped. But he wasn't angry. He was smiling. Actually smiling, like she just told him the most delightful joke he'd heard in years. "I look forward to proving you wrong," he said softly. Amara turned and walked out on shaking legs, her skin prickling with awareness of every eye following her exit. She didn't run, though everything in her wanted to. She walked like she had every right to slap dangerous men in expensive restaurants and live to tell about it. Behind her, Kang Minho touched his stinging cheek and laughed for the first time in 3 years. His second-in-command, Jace, leaned close. "Sir, should we find out everything about her?" Minho interrupted, still staring at the door she'd vanished through. "Everything. I want her file by morning." "And then?" Minho's smile widened. "Then I'm going to make her remember my name." 3 days earlier, Amara had arrived at Incheon Airport with one suitcase, 3 days of scheduled gallery events, and a determination to start fresh. Seoul was supposed to be her clean slate, far from the mess she'd left in Lagos. Her ex-fiancé Chikwudi had used her art gallery to launder money for criminals, and when she'd discovered the truth, she'd done the right thing. She'd testified. He'd promised she'd regret it. But that was 8 months and several thousand miles behind her. Korea was safety. Korea was art and culture, and a chance to build something legitimate. The morning after the restaurant incident, Amara woke to someone pounding on her Airbnb door. She stumbled out of bed, expecting her gallery assistant Jiwoo with coffee. Instead, she found a delivery man holding the largest bouquet of roses she'd ever seen. Not a dozen. Not 2 dozen. 100 blood-red roses in a crystal vase, so heavy the man grunted as he set it on her table. The card was simple, written in perfect English. "You have a strong hand. I wonder what else it can do." Amara's blood went cold. She grabbed the vase and carried it to the dumpster outside, ignoring curious looks from neighbors. Back in her apartment, she locked every lock and pushed a chair under the doorknob. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. "Yes." Heavy breathing on the other end. Then a man's voice, smooth as whiskey. "That's wasteful. Those roses cost more than your monthly rent." "Who is this?" "You know who this is, Amara Okafor. Age 28. Born in Lagos, Nigeria. Studied art history at University of Lagos, then translation and Korean at UA Women's University. Owns a gallery in Lagos, currently closed. Arrived in Seoul 4 days ago for the Afro-Asian Cultural Exchange exhibition at the Itaewon Gallery." Amara's hands started shaking. "How do you? Your favorite color is purple. You drink your coffee with too much sugar and no cream. You speak 5 languages: English, Yoruba, Igbo, Korean, and passable Mandarin. You run every morning at 6 a.m. You're afraid of spiders but not of slapping strangers in restaurants." He paused. Should I continue? What do you want? Dinner. Conversation. Your time. I don't date criminals. He laughed, a rich sound that did strange things to her stomach. Good. I don't date women who think they know me. 8 p.m. I'll send a car. I'm not. You will. The confidence in his voice made her want to slap him again. Because you're curious. Because you're brave enough to admit it. And because, Amara, whether you like it or not, you're already in my world now. The question is whether you want me as a friend or an enemy. I want you to leave me alone. Not an option I'm offering. 8 p.m. Wear something comfortable. We're not going anywhere fancy. He hung up. Amara stared at her phone, then at the door, then back at her phone. She should call the police. She should call the embassy. She should definitely not get in a car with a strange man who'd somehow learned everything about her in 12 hours. At 7:50 p.m., she was dressed in jeans and a simple blue blouse, telling herself she was only going to tell him off in person. At 8 p.m. exactly, her phone buzzed with a text. Black sedan. Driver's name is Min Jun. He's harmless. She looked out the window. A sleek black car sat at the curb. This was insane. This was dangerous. This was possibly the stupidest thing she'd done since slapping him. Amara grabbed her bag and went downstairs. The driver was an older man with kind eyes who bowed respectfully and said nothing during the drive. They didn't go to a fancy restaurant. Instead, he pulled up to a Paijang Matcha, one of Seoul's traditional street food tents, tucked into a quiet alley in Gangnam. Kang Minho sat alone at a plastic table, dressed in jeans and a simple black sweater, looking nothing like the dangerous man from the restaurant. He could have been any handsome Seoul resident grabbing late dinner. He stood when she approached, that infuriating smile playing at his lips. You came. I came to tell you to leave me alone. Sit first. Tell me after you eat. I ordered already. Hope you like tteokbokki. Despite herself, Amara sat. The tent was warm, smelling of spicy rice cakes and fish cakes and grilled meat. A few other customers sat at nearby tables, completely unaware that one of Korea's most dangerous men was eating street food beside them. How do you know I like tteokbokki? She asked. You ordered it 3 times this week at different restaurants. You always ask for extra spice. He poured her a cup of soju. You're also building quite a reputation for insulting waiters who don't bring enough gochugaru. Stop having me followed. Stop being interesting. The food arrived, steaming and perfect. Amara's stomach betrayed her by growling loudly. Miho's smile widened. She glared at him and picked up her chopsticks. They ate in silence for a few minutes. The tteokbokki was incredible, spicy enough to make her eyes water. Finally, Miho spoke, and when he did, it wasn't in Korean or English. Bawo and I'll? How's home? Amara's chopsticks clattered to the table. He'd just spoken perfect Yoruba with a better accent than some Nigerians she knew. Surprise, he said in English, looking pleased with himself. I speak 8 languages fluently, 12 if you count the ones I can understand but speak badly. Yoruba is number 7. I learned it 2 years ago when I expanded business into West Africa. What kind of business? His expression didn't change. The kind your ex-fiancé Chukwudi Okonkwo worked in. Money laundering. Arms dealing. Import-export that doesn't ask questions about exports. Amara's appetite vanished. I have nothing to do with that. I know. You testified against him. Very brave. Very stupid. He took a sip of soju. Which is why you're in danger. That was 8 months ago. The case is over. He's in prison. He escaped 6 weeks ago. Nobody told you because you're supposed to be in witness protection, but you violated protocol by leaving the country. Miho pulled out his phone and showed her a news article in Yoruba. She read it twice, her hands going numb. Chukwudi was free. The article said he'd killed 2 guards during his escape. Interpol was looking for him. You're lying, she whispered, but she knew he wasn't. I wish I was. Miho's voice gentled. Amara, Chukwudi works for people I do business with. Bad people. The kind who don't forgive testimony. They have a contract on you. Why are you telling me this? Because the woman who slapped me doesn't deserve to die for doing the right thing. He leaned forward. And because Chukwudi arrived in Seoul yesterday. He's here. Looking for you. Amara's world tilted sideways. The warm tent suddenly felt suffocating. You're lying to scare me. Miho pulled out his phone again, swiping through photos. Chukwudi at Incheon Airport, wearing sunglasses and a baseball cap. Chukwudi outside her Airbnb building, talking on his phone. Chakwoody at a coffee shop 3 blocks from her gallery. All the photos were timestamped within the last 48 hours. I had my people tracking him the moment he entered Korean airspace, Minho said quietly. He's not alone. He has at least 4 men with him, all armed. They've been surveilling your apartment, your gallery, every place you've been. Amara's breathing came too fast. Her vision blurred at the edges. This couldn't be happening. She'd done everything right. She'd testified, entered protection, started over. Seoul was supposed to be safe. Breathe, Minho said, his voice cutting through her panic. Look at me. Breathe. She focused on his face, on those dark eyes that somehow looked less predatory now and more concerned. She breathed in through her nose, out through her mouth, the way her therapist had taught her. Why do you care? She finally asked. You don't know me. I know you're brave. I know you're honest. I know you stood up when it would have been easier to look away. He paused. And I know what it's like to be trapped in a world you never asked to enter. You're a weapons dealer. Yes. No hesitation, no justification. My father built this empire. When he died, I inherited it. Along with all the enemies, all the debts, all the blood. He looked down at his hands. I've done terrible things, Amara. I won't lie to you about that. But I'm trying to build something different. Something legitimate. Why should I believe you? He showed her his phone again. Different photos this time. A hospital in Lagos with his name on a plaque. Schools in Abuja. Clean water projects in rural villages. All funded by Kang Enterprises. I can't erase what I've done. But I can try to balance the scales. Amara studied his face, looking for the lie. She'd gotten good at spotting liars after Chakwoody. But Minho's expression was open, almost vulnerable. It didn't match the dangerous man from the restaurant. What do you want from me? She asked. Help me take down the people who want you dead. Testify against the Sato clan. They're the ones who hired Chakwoody. The ones laundering money through galleries and businesses across 3 continents. Your testimony in Lagos exposed part of their operation. If you testify here in Korea, we can destroy them completely. And if I refuse, then I'll still protect you. But they'll keep coming. New assassins, new threats, for the rest of your life. He leaned back. Or you can end this. Help me end this. I'll guarantee your safety. I have resources they don't. Connections they can't match. You want to use me as bait. I want to give you a chance to fight back. His eyes hardened. These people destroyed your life once already. Don't you want revenge? Amara did want revenge. She'd wanted it every day for 8 months. Every time she woke from nightmares about Chakwoody's threats. Every time she remembered her gallery in flames after he'd torched it. But revenge was dangerous. Revenge could get her killed. I need to think, she said. You have until tomorrow morning. After that, Chakwoody will make his move, and I won't be able to stop him unless you're under my protection. Minho stood, pulling out his wallet. June will take you home. You'll have guards outside your building tonight. You won't see them, but they're there. I didn't agree to guards. I didn't ask. He placed money on the table, far too much for street food. Sleep on it, Amara. But remember, brave women don't survive in this world by being alone. Sometimes you need a devil on your side. That night, Amara didn't sleep. She paced her small apartment, checking locks, jumping at every sound. Her phone sat on the table, Minho's number saved but not called. Outside, she occasionally glimpsed movement in the shadows, men who might have been guards or might have been assassins. She couldn't tell anymore. At 3 a.m., her phone buzzed. A video message from an unknown number. Her hands shook as she opened it. The video showed her gallery. The one in Lagos, the one Chakwoody had burned. Except it wasn't burned anymore. It had been rebuilt, restored, better than before. The camera panned across familiar paintings, familiar sculptures, all intact. A note appeared on screen. I bought it. Restored it. It's yours again when this is over. Amara burst into tears, clutching the phone to her chest. He'd rebuilt her gallery. The gallery her grandfather had started, that her father had grown, that she'd inherited and loved and lost. Minho had given it back to her. She called him. He answered on the first ring, voice alert despite the hour. Did you see it? Why? She sobbed. Why would you do this? Because I researched you, remember? I know that gallery was your life. I know what it meant to lose it. His voice softened. And because I wanted you to understand something. When I make a promise, I keep it. If I say I'll protect you, I will. If I say we'll destroy the people who hurt you, We will. I'm scared. Good. Fear keeps you alive. But don't let it keep you trapped. He paused. Come to my place tomorrow. We'll plan everything. You'll be safe there. I promise. Okay, she whispered. Okay. Get some sleep, Amara. I have guards on every entrance. Nothing will touch you tonight. She wanted to argue, to insist she didn't need protecting. But she was exhausted and terrified and so tired of being alone. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Wait until we're on the other side of this. He hung up. Amara crawled into bed, fully clothed, and finally slept. The next morning, mid-June picked her up at 8 a.m. The drive took them across the Han River to Hanamdong, Seoul's most exclusive neighborhood. Minho's building was a fortress disguised as luxury, with guards at every entrance and cameras covering every angle. His penthouse occupied the entire top floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the river and the city beyond. The decor was minimalist, expensive, and somehow warm despite all the steel and glass. African art hung on one wall, Korean traditional pieces on another. A bookshelf held titles in at least a dozen languages. Minho stood by the windows, dressed in a black suit, looking every inch the dangerous man from the restaurant. But when he turned and saw her, his expression softened. You came. I want my gallery back. I want my life back. Amara lifted her chin. And I want Chikwudi to pay for what he did. Then we'll make sure he does. Minho gestured to a leather sofa. Sit. We have a lot to discuss. A man entered from a side room, tall and lean with sharp features and cold eyes. He looked at Amara like she was an insect he wanted to crush. This is her? The one you're risking everything for? Jace, meet Amara Okafor. Amara, this is Jace Kim, my second in command and head of security. Minho's voice carried a warning. Be respectful. Jace's expression didn't change. Sir, with respect, bringing her here compromises our security. The Satos will know within hours. Let them know. I want them to know she's under my protection. Minho's voice hardened. Anyone who touches her dies. Make sure that message is clear. Jace's jaw tightened, but he bowed slightly. As you wish. He left without acknowledging Amara again. He doesn't like me, Amara observed. He doesn't like change. For 3 years, I've been predictable, controlled, focused only on business. Then you walked into my life and slapped me, and suddenly I'm doing things I've never done before. Minho sat across from her. He thinks you're a distraction. Am I? Yes. His honesty startled her. But you're also the first thing in years that's made me want to be better instead of just stronger. He crept up Amara's neck. She looked away from his intense gaze. So what's the plan? Minho pulled out a tablet, showing her files and photos. The Satos run operations across Asia and West Africa. Money laundering, weapons, human trafficking. Your testimony in Lagos exposed their Nigerian operation. They lost millions and several key operatives went to prison. They want revenge. And Chikwudi? He's their dog. They freed him, brought him here, pointed him at you. Minho swiped to another screen. But he's also their weakness. He knows everything about their operation. If we can get him to talk, if we can get you to testify with his testimony as backup, we can bring down the entire organization. He'll never talk. He will if the alternative is worse. Something dark flickered in Minho's eyes. Trust me, Amara should have been frightened by that darkness. Instead, she felt safer. This was a man who kept his promises, who rebuilt galleries for strangers, who looked at her like she mattered. Maybe he was a devil, but maybe she needed a devil. There's something else, Minho said carefully. The detective handling your case, Detective Park, I think he's compromised. What do you mean? I mean the Satos have deep pockets and Seoul's police force isn't immune to corruption. Park has been asking too many questions about my involvement, pushing for meetings with you alone, refusing protection details I've offered. Minho's expression hardened. I think he's feeding information to the Satos. Can you prove it? Not yet. But I'm watching him. He leaned forward. Amara, you need to understand something. Until this is over, you can't trust anyone except me and the people I explicitly clear. Your gallery assistant, your friends, even the police, any of them could be compromised. The isolation of that statement hit her. She was alone in a foreign country, hunted by criminals, unable to trust even the authorities meant to protect her. Her only ally was a weapons dealer she'd known for less than 48 hours. I know it's a lot, Minho said quietly, reading her expression. But I meant what I said. You're under my protection now. Nothing will touch you. And what do you get out of this? Really? He held her gaze. The Satos have been a thorn in my side for years. Taking them down helps my business. But also, he paused, something vulnerable crossing his face. I get to know the woman brave enough to slap me and walk away. I find that far more valuable than any business advantage. Before Amara could respond, her phone rang. Jiwoo, her gallery assistant. She answered. Hello? Amara. Oh my god, where are you? The gallery, there's someone broken last night. They destroyed everything. Your paintings, the sculptures, everything's ruined. The police are here, but, oh god, there's a message spray painted on the wall. Jiwoo's voice broke. It says, come home, Amara. We're waiting. Amara's phone slipped from her hand. Minho caught it before it hit the floor, listening to Jiwoo's panicked voice. He spoke in rapid Korean, calm and authoritative, then hung up and immediately made another call. Lock down the gallery. Get Jiwoo to a safe location. I want eyes on everyone who enters or exits that building. He ended the call and turned to Amara, who sat frozen on the sofa. They're sending a message. They know you're here, and they want you scared. It's working, Amara whispered. Her exhibition, months of work, artists from 3 countries who'd trusted her to showcase their pieces, all destroyed. Those weren't my paintings. They belonged to other artists. People who believed in me. I'll compensate every artist personally. Triple their asking price. Minho crouched in front of her, forcing her to meet his eyes. Amara, look at me. This is what they do. They destroy what you love to break you. Don't let them win. How do you not let them win? They're everywhere. They can reach me anywhere. Not here. Not with me. His hand covered hers, warm and solid. I've been fighting men like this my entire life. I know how they think, how they move, what scares them. And right now, what scares them is you surviving long enough to testify. A bitter laugh escaped her. I should have just kept quiet in Lagos. Looked the other way like everyone else. Then you wouldn't be you. Minho's thumb traced circles on her hand, probably without him realizing. The world has enough cowards, Amara. It needs more people like you. She looked at their joined hands, at this dangerous man offering comfort, and something shifted in her chest. Maybe it was Stockholm Syndrome. Maybe it was stupidity. Or maybe it was just exhaustion and fear and the desperate human need to not be alone. I need to shower, she said abruptly, standing. I need to think. Minho pointed down a hallway. Second door on the left. There's clothes in the closet. Help yourself to anything. Take your time. The bathroom was larger than her entire Airbnb, all marble and chrome with a rainfall shower that could fit 4 people. Amara stripped off her clothes and stood under water hot enough to burn, letting it wash away the fear and anger and confusion. She didn't cry. She'd cried enough over the past 8 months. Now she just felt hollow. She didn't close the bathroom door completely. Some instinct made her want to hear if anyone entered the bedroom. So when Minho's voice called out, I'm leaving clothes on the bed. Not looking, I promise, she could hear every word clearly. Thank you, she called back, surprised to find she meant it. When she emerged wrapped in a towel, she found yoga pants and a soft sweater laid out, along with fresh undergarments still in packaging. The sizes were perfect. Of course they were. He'd researched everything about her. She dressed and found him in the kitchen cooking. Actually cooking, not having staff do it. The smell of jollof rice and peppered chicken filled the space. You cook Nigerian food? Amara couldn't keep the surprise from her voice. I told you, I do business in West Africa. I learned to cook the food out of respect. He plated the dishes with surprising skill. Besides, my mother always said a man who can't feed himself is half a man. They ate at the kitchen island, the informal setting somehow more intimate than any fancy restaurant. The food was excellent, spiced exactly right, reminding Amara so much of home that her throat tightened. Tell me about your family, Minho said quietly. Not the facts I read in a file. The real story. So she did. She told him about her grandfather who'd started the gallery with nothing but passion and determination, her father who'd expanded it into something Lagos society respected, her mother who'd taught art history at the university. She told him about growing up surrounded by beauty and culture, about learning to see the world through colors and shapes and the stories art could tell. And Chukwudi? Minho asked carefully. Amara's hands tightened on her fork. I met him at a gallery opening. He was charming, successful, Interested in art. Or so I thought. She laughed bitterly. Turns out he was interested in my gallery's reputation. Clean, respected, perfect for hiding dirty money. By the time I realized what he was doing, he'd moved millions through my accounts. But you stopped him. I destroyed my own life to stop him. Lost the gallery, lost my reputation, lost friends who thought I was complicit. She met Minho's eyes. Was it worth it? I honestly don't know anymore. It was worth it. His certainty was absolute. You chose integrity over safety. That's rare. That's valuable. He paused. That's why I'm going to help you get everything back. Why do you really care, Minho? And don't give me the business advantage answer. He was quiet for a long moment, studying his plate. When he spoke, his voice was softer than she'd heard it. My father built his empire on fear and blood. Everyone around him was either terrified or trying to use him, including my mother, who married him for money and status. I grew up watching him become more isolated, more paranoid, more cruel. He died alone in a hospital room, and only 3 people came to his funeral. I'm sorry. Don't be. He was a monster. Minho looked up, and his eyes were haunted, and I'm terrified of becoming him. Every day, I feel myself getting colder, more calculating, more willing to do terrible things for practical reasons. Then you walked into my life and slapped me, and for the first time in years, I felt something other than cold calculation. I felt alive. The confession hung between them, raw and honest. Amara's heart hammered. This was dangerous territory, feeling sympathy for a man who killed people for a living. But she couldn't deny the connection humming between them, electric and undeniable. I should be afraid of you, she whispered. You should. He stood, moving closer but not touching. I've done things that would horrify you. Killed people. Destroyed lives. I'm not a good man, Amara. Then why does it feel safe when I'm with you? Because I would burn this entire city to the ground before I let anyone hurt you. The intensity in his voice sent shivers down her spine. That probably makes me more dangerous, not less. They stood inches apart, the air between them crackling with tension. Amara knew she should step back, maintain distance. Remember, this was business. Instead, she swayed forward. Minho's phone shattered the moment. He cursed in Korean and answered. What? His expression darkened as he listened. When? How many? More listening. Lock it down. I'm on my way. He hung up and looked at Amara with regret. I have to go. There's a situation at one of my warehouses. Possible Sato attack. I'll be back in 2 hours maximum. I'll come with you. Absolutely not. You stay here where it's safe. He called down the hallway. Jace, get in here. Jace appeared immediately, as if he'd been listening. Probably had been. Sir? I need to handle the warehouse situation. You stay here with Amara. Full protection protocol. No one gets past you. Jace's expression tightened almost imperceptibly. Wouldn't it be better if I came with you? Minsu can guard her. Minsu is at the warehouse. You're here. Minho's tone left no room for argument. Protect her with your life, Jace. Do you understand? Yes, sir. The words came out flat, emotionless. Minho turned to Amara, his hand cupping her face with surprising tenderness. Stay inside. Don't open the door for anyone except me. Jace will be right outside if you need anything. He leaned close, his breath warm against her ear. I'll be back soon. I promise. Then he was gone, leaving Amara alone with a man who clearly despised her. Jace stood by the door, arms crossed, radiating hostility. The silence stretched uncomfortable and thick. You don't have to like me, Amara finally said. But we're stuck together for 2 hours, so we might as well be civil. Civil? Jace's laugh was harsh. You've known him for 2 days and he's already risking everything. Do you have any idea what you've done? I didn't ask for any of this. No, you just waltzed into his life, slapped him like he's some common thug, and now he's acting like a lovesick fool instead of the leader we need. Jace moved closer, intimidating. The Satos are circling. We have internal issues. 3 of our warehouses have been hit this month. We need him focused, not distracted by some woman playing damsel in distress. Amara stood her ground. I'm not playing anything. I'm trying to survive. Then survive somewhere else. His voice dropped to a hiss. Leave Seoul. Disappear. Let us handle our business without you complicating everything. Minho asked me to stay. Minho isn't thinking clearly. For the first time in 3 years, he's vulnerable. And in our world, vulnerable means dead. Jace leaned against the wall, studying her with cold calculation. You really care about him? Then leave. It's the kindest thing you could do. Before Amara could respond, an explosion rocked the building. The windows rattled. Car alarms started screaming from the street below. Jace's phone erupted with calls and messages. He answered, his face going pale as he listened. What do you mean the warehouse was a diversion? Where? How many? His eyes shot to Amara. Get down. He tackled her to the floor just as the penthouse windows exploded inward, glass raining down like deadly snow. Men in black masks rappelled through the shattered windows, automatic weapons raised. 6 of them, moving with military precision. Jace was on his feet instantly, gun in hand, firing. 2 masked men went down. But there were too many. One grabbed Amara, yanking her up by her hair. She screamed, twisting, her self-defense training kicking in. She stomped on his instep, elbowed his ribs, broke free. Another man caught her stronger. His arm wrapped around her throat, cutting off air. Stop fighting or I'll snap your neck right here. Jace had 3 men on him now, beating him down. Blood poured from his nose. He met Amara's eyes across the chaos. For a moment, she saw something like apology in his expression. Then everything went black as something hit the back of her head. Amara woke to darkness and the smell of rust and oil. Her head throbbed. Her hands were zip-tied behind her back, secured to what felt like a metal chair. She tried to move and pain exploded through her shoulders. She's awake. A familiar voice, speaking English with a thick Igbo accent. Lights blazed on, blinding. When her vision cleared, Chikwudi stood in front of her, smiling that charming smile she'd once loved and now despised. They were in some kind of warehouse, empty except for her chair and several men with guns. Hello, darling, Chikwudi said pleasantly, as if they'd run into each other at a cafe. Miss me? Go to hell. He backhanded her, casual violence that split her lip. Blood filled her mouth. That's no way to greet your fiancé. Ex-fiancé. And I was never really your fiancé, was I? Just a useful idiot with a legitimate business you could exploit. Oh, you were more than that. You were perfect. So principled, so honest, so convinced you were doing the right thing. He crouched in front of her, grabbing her chin. Right up until you destroyed everything with your self-righteous testimony. You were laundering money for terrorists. I was making us rich. His facade cracked, showing the rage beneath. We could have had everything, Amara. Money, power, respect. But you had to play hero. Now look at you. Tied up in a warehouse, about to die, and for what? For doing the right thing. He hit her again harder. Her vision swam. The Satos want you dead. I'm supposed to kill you quickly, get it over with. But I think we should take our time. Catch up properly. His hand trailed down her neck, possessive and threatening. After all, we have history. Terror clawed up Amara's throat, but she forced it down. Minho would come. He'd promised. He'd find her. She just had to survive until then. Minho will kill you for this, she said, keeping her voice steady. Chikwudi laughed. Your new boyfriend? He's busy at his warehouse, dealing with fires and dead bodies. By the time he realizes the attack here was the real target, you'll be dead and I'll be on a plane to Lagos. He pulled out a knife, letting light play along the blade. Now, let's discuss how you're going to suffer before you die. The knife was inches from Amara's face when the warehouse doors exploded inward. Not opened. Exploded. The blast threw 2 of Chikwidi's men across the room like rag dolls. Through the smoke and debris, a figure walked in, backlit by flames, moving with deadly purpose. Minho. He wasn't alone. A dozen men flanked him, weapons drawn, fanning out with military efficiency. But Minho himself carried only a single handgun, held loose at his side. His eyes found Amara, swept over her bloodied face and tied hands, and something terrible happened to his expression. Let her go, he said quietly, his voice carrying across the warehouse. Let her go and I'll make your deaths quick. Chikwudi grabbed Amara, using her as a shield, his knife pressed to her throat. Come any closer and I'll cut her open right here. You're going to die either way, Minho said, still advancing slowly. The only question is how much you suffer first. Let her go, and I'll put a bullet in your brain. Keep that knife at her throat, and I'll take hours. I'll kill her. I swear I'll do it. No, you won't. Minho's certainty was absolute. Because the moment you cut her, my men will shoot you in both knees, and you'll spend your last hours begging for death while I peel your skin off in strips." He raised his gun, aiming at Chikwudi's head with rock-steady hands. "You have 3 seconds to decide." 3. Chikwudi pressed the knife harder. A thin line of blood appeared on Amara's neck. 2. Amara felt Chikwudi's hand trembling against her, felt his fear radiating through his body. He was going to do it. He was actually going to kill her. 1. Amara drove her head backward, smashing into Chikwudi's nose with a sickening crunch. His knife hand jerked away from her throat. She threw her weight sideways, chair and all, hitting the ground hard but clear of him. 3 gunshots rang out simultaneously. Chikwudi's body jerked and fell, blood blooming across his chest. His remaining men raised their weapons, but Minho's team was faster. The firefight lasted seconds. When the smoke cleared, 7 bodies littered the warehouse floor. None of them were Minho's men. Then Minho was beside her, cutting the zip ties with swift, efficient movements. His hands shook as he cupped her face, checking her injuries. "Are you hurt? Did he? Tell me what he did." "I'm okay," Amara managed, though her whole body trembled with adrenaline and shock. "He was going to, but you came. You came. I will always come for you." He pulled her against his chest, holding her so tight she could barely breathe. "Always. I don't care if I have to burn down the entire world. I will always find you." She clung to him, feeling his heartbeat racing against hers, and something broke open inside her chest. This man, this dangerous, violent, complicated man, had just killed 7 people to save her. Should have terrified her. Instead, it made her feel safer than she'd ever felt in her life. "Jace," she said suddenly, pulling back. "They attacked the penthouse. Jace tried to protect me, but there were too many." Minho's jaw tightened. He spoke into his phone in rapid Korean, then looked relieved. "He's alive. Beaten badly, but alive. He managed to hit the panic button before they took you." "He was right, Amara said quietly. "I am a distraction. I'm making you vulnerable. You're making me human again." Minho brushed blood from her lip with his thumb, infinitely gentle. "There's a difference." One of his men approached, speaking in Korean. Minho listened, his expression darkening. He responded sharply, then turned to Amara. "The Satos sent them. This was their move, but they're not done. Detective Park has been feeding them information. We have proof now. What happens to Park? He'll face justice. Real justice, not the corrupt kind." Minho helped her stand, keeping an arm around her waist when she swayed. "Can you walk? We need to get you to a doctor." "I can walk." She took a step and her knees buckled. Minho caught her, then simply lifted her into his arms like she weighed nothing. She should have protested. Instead, she let her head rest against his shoulder. "This is becoming a habit. Get used to it." His voice held a rough tenderness that made her heart skip. "I'm not letting you out of my sight again." They didn't go to a hospital. Too public, too many opportunities for another attack. Instead, Minho took her to a private clinic run by a doctor who asked no questions and worked efficiently. 3 stitches in her lip, treatment for the head wound, painkillers that made the world go soft and fuzzy. When they finally returned to the penthouse, hours later, dawn was breaking over Seoul. The shattered windows had already been replaced, the glass cleaned up, no evidence of the attack remaining except for blood stains on the floor that made Minho's expression harden. Jace was there, face swollen and bruised, arm in a sling. He stood when they entered. "Sir, I failed you. I should have anticipated the attack. I should have protected her better. You kept her alive long enough for me to get there," Minho said. "That's all that matters." Jace's eyes moved to Amara. For the first time, the hostility was gone, replaced by something like respect. "You fight well." The headbutt was impressive. "My father taught me to never go down without a fight," Amara said. A ghost of a smile crossed Jace's battered face. "Your father taught you well." He bowed slightly, which seemed to cost him significant pain. "I apologize for my earlier words. You are not a distraction. You are a warrior." After Jace left, Minho led Amara to his bedroom. "You need rest. Real rest. You'll stay here where I can watch over you. I can take the guest room." "No." The word was absolute. "You stay where I can reach you in seconds if something happens. I'm not taking any more chances." Too tired to argue, Amara crawled into his massive bed. It smelled like him, expensive cologne and something uniquely Minho. He started to leave, but she caught his hand. Stay. Please. He hesitated, then kicked off his shoes and lay beside her, careful not to touch her injuries. She curled into him anyway, needing the solid warmth of his presence. His arm came around her, holding her close. I was terrified, he admitted quietly into the darkness. When I realized the warehouse attack was a diversion, when I saw you were gone, I felt fear for the first time in years. Real, paralyzing fear. But you came. I would have torn Seoul apart stone by stone to find you. His hand stroked her hair, gentle and soothing. Amara, I need you to understand something. What I feel for you, it's not rational. It's not safe. It's consuming and obsessive and probably unhealthy. But it's real. More real than anything I've felt in my entire life. She tilted her head to look at him. His face was vulnerable in the dim light, all his walls down. I know. I feel it too. This pull between us like gravity. You should run from me. I'm dangerous. I kill people. I run an empire built on blood and fear. You also rebuild galleries, fund hospitals, cook jollof rice. She touched his face, tracing the sharp line of his jaw. You're more than the worst things you've done, Minho. With you, I want to be. He leaned down, pressing his forehead to hers. I want to be the man you deserve. I want to leave this life behind and build something clean. Something good. Can you? Can you really walk away from all this? For you? Yes. His certainty was absolute. I'll sell the weapons division, keep only the legitimate businesses, cooperate with authorities to take down the Satos completely. I'll become boring and respectable if that's what it takes. Amara laughed, then winced as it pulled her stitches. I don't want boring. I just want honest. Then I'll be honest. His hand cupped her face, thumb brushing her cheek. I'm falling in love with you, Amara Okafor. Have been since the moment you slapped me and walked away like I was nothing special. You made me feel human again. You made me want to be better. Her heart hammered so hard she thought it might break through her ribs. That's terrifying. I know. And completely insane. We barely know each other. I know. And I'm falling in love with you too. The words tumbled out, honest and raw. Which makes me either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. Brave, he said firmly. Always brave. Then he kissed her, soft and careful, mindful of her split lip but full of promise and heat and desperate longing. The kiss deepened, grew hungry. His hands tangled in her hair. She pressed against him, needing more, needing everything. He pulled back, breathing hard. We should stop. You're injured. You need rest. I need you. She pulled him back down, kissing him with everything she felt, all the fear and relief and impossible love surging through her veins. This time he didn't resist. His hands explored her body with reverent touches, learning every curve and dip. She tugged at his shirt, kneading skin on skin. They undressed each other slowly, carefully, every revealed inch accompanied by kisses and whispered words. When they finally came together, it was tender and consuming, a claiming and a surrender all at once. Afterward, they lay tangled together, hearts racing, skin damp with sweat. Amara traced patterns on his chest, feeling his heartbeat steady beneath her palm. What happens now? Now we end this. Properly. Minho's voice was firm. I've already contacted my lawyers and the prosecutors. Detective Park has been arrested. We have evidence linking the Satos to everything: trafficking, money laundering, murder. Your testimony, combined with the evidence we've gathered, will destroy them completely. And then? Then you're free. Really free. No more running, no more fear. He pulled her closer. And if you'll have me, I'd like to spend the rest of my life making sure you never have to run again. 3 months later, Amara stood in a courthouse in Seoul, her hand on a Bible, and told the truth about everything. The Sato clan, the money laundering, Chikwuti's involvement, all of it. The trial lasted 6 weeks. 17 high-ranking Sato members were sentenced to life in prison. Their empire crumbled. Detective Park got 15 years. Jace, who'd turned state's evidence about corruption in the police force, received immunity and a promotion to head of Minho's legitimate security firm. True to his word, Minho sold his weapons division to a European defense contractor, keeping only his legal businesses. He donated half the proceeds to charities across Africa and Asia. The other half funded a new venture, an international art foundation co-directed by him and Amara. Her gallery in Lagos reopened to massive fanfare. Amara split her time between Lagos and Seoul, building bridges between African and Asian artists, creating exhibitions that celebrated both cultures. Jiwoo became her full-time assistant and closest friend. 6 months after the trial, on a beach in Lagos with both their families present, Minho asked Amara to marry him. He did it in Yoruba, the words careful and loving, while the sun set over the Atlantic and painted the sky in shades of orange and gold. She said yes in Korean, laughing and crying at the same time. They married 3 months later in a ceremony that blended Nigerian and Korean traditions. Amara wore an iro and buba made of Korean silk, embroidered with African patterns. Minho wore an agbada over a modified hanbok. Both families cried. Even Jace got misty-eyed, though he denied it later. The wedding night was passionate and tender, a celebration of everything they'd survived and everything they'd built together. And when Amara whispered that she was pregnant, Minho fell to his knees and wept with joy. Their daughter, Amara Okafor Kang, was born 9 months later on a sunny Seoul morning. She came into the world screaming, already strong and fierce like her mother. When the nurse placed her in Minho's arms, he looked at Amara with wonder in his eyes. "She's perfect. You're perfect. How did I get so lucky?" "You didn't get lucky," Amara said, exhausted and radiant. "You changed. You chose to be better." "No," Minho said softly, kissing his daughter's tiny forehead. "You changed me. From the moment you slapped me and walked away, you were changing me." 3 years later, they stood on their penthouse balcony overlooking Seoul, watching Zara play with her grandmother inside. The city glittered below them, full of life and possibility. "Do you ever regret it?" Amara asked, leaning into Minho's embrace. "That night at the restaurant? The slap that started everything?" Minho was quiet for a moment, then smiled. "Every single day." She pulled back, hurt flashing across her face. "I regret that you only slapped me once," he continued, his smile widening. "I wish it had been twice, so I could have 2 perfect lives with you instead of just 1. Amara laughed, the sound bright and free, and kissed him as the sun set over the city they'd both come to love. Behind them, Zara squealed with delight. Around them, life hummed with normalcy and peace. And for the first time in his life, Minho felt like he'd finally come home. But in the shadows across the street, a woman lowered her binoculars and smiled. She was beautiful and cold, with her father's eyes and her family's thirst for revenge. Sato Yuki had waited 3 years, building her own empire, gathering her own army. Now she was ready. "Enjoy your peace, Kang Minho," she whispered in Japanese. "You took everything from my family. Soon, I'll take everything from you." She turned and walked into the darkness, leaving behind only a promise of storms to come. But that's a story for another time. For now, on a balcony high above Seoul, a former weapons dealer held his wife and watched his daughter play, grateful for the slap that had changed his life forever. And in that moment, surrounded by love and light and the family he never thought he'd have, Minho was simply happy. If you loved Amara and Minho's story, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below telling us what you thought. Should we continue their story? Do you want to see what happens when Sato Yuki makes her move? Let us know. And don't forget to like this video. It really helps us bring you more epic love stories like this one. Until next time, remember, sometimes the best love stories start with a slap and a whole lot of courage. See you in the next one.